Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. No petitions have been delivered to the clerk for presentation. Ministers have delivered a paper.
Law Commission Report 127, the 2013 review of the Evidence Act 2006.
That paper is published under the authority of the House. Select committee reports have been delivered for presentation.
Reports of the Commerce Committee on the 2011-12 financial reviews of New Zealand Post Limited and Television New Zealand Limited. Report of the Finance and Expenditure Committee on the Reserve Bank of New Zealand's Monetary Policy Statement, March 2013. Report of the Government Administration Committee on the Plumbers, Gasfitters and Drain Layers Amendment Bill. Reports of the Justice and Electoral Committee on the Criminal Procedure Legislation Bill and on the Prisoners and Victims Claims Continuation and Reform Amendment Bill. Report of the Primary Production Committee on the briefing on the Tamarillo industry, including the impact of psyllid.
The bills are set down for second reading, and the reports on the Monetary Policy Statement and the Tamarillo industry are set down for consideration. No bills have been introduced. The House comes to questions for oral answer. Point of order, Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, my question to you goes to Speaker's ruling 1793 in relation to errors in questions for oral answer. And it's a relatively simple question, and that is where an error is made by a minister when answering on behalf of another minister, is the obligation on the minister who delivered the error or the minister who was to whom the question was asked to correct it. Clearly, there are two questions which do need correction. I think it's generally agreed both to the Prime Minister, but one of them was answered by the Leader of the House, and the question is whether it goes to the Leader of the House the obligation to make the correction now.
In the normal course of events, it's at the discretion of the minister who made the statement to determine whether he or she wishes to correct any statement that that minister has made in the House.
Point of order. I know it's a discretion, sir, but there's certainly an obligation on someone to correct it. And it's a question about, we know that the Leader of the House could correct it, but it's a question about whether he is obliged. We know the minister's obliged to correct an error, but whether the Leader of the House is.
It's a matter for the Leader of the House to determine if it's the person who's you think ought to be correcting the statement. It's a matter for that person, the minister, to decide whether in fact the statement made needs correcting. That's a discretion that is in the hands of the minister, not in the hands of the Speaker. Question number one, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The question is to the Prime Minister, does he stand by all his statements?
Speaker.
Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.